Ravandra forced his consciousness beyond the empty outer mind and descended toward what he referred to as the mental core. Even he did not fully understand its true nature. It was not merely the deepest part of one's thoughts. It was the manifestation of a being's very essence, their soul given form. From the outside, every soul appeared as an ethereal sphere. Its size, its brilliance, its movement, each reflected the owner's willpower and spiritual strength. Ravandra had witnessed extraordinary souls before. Even Ribrianes had impressed him. But the instant he reached Jiren's, everything changed. Impossible. His thoughts froze. Beyond the endless void floated something resembling a star. An immense, blinding sphere of light radiated such overwhelming spiritual power that Ravandra instinctively recoiled. It inspired admiration and terror. Power flowed calmly throughout the immense soul, steady and perfectly controlled. Yet, beneath the calm, he sensed something else, a restrained rage, like a star moments away from collapsing into a supernova. It was that silent anger that was the most frightening. Ravandra immediately understood. If he attempted to invade Jiren's soul directly, his own mind would be destroyed simply by approaching it. "How dare you?" The voice echoed throughout the entire mindscape. Ravandra froze. The radiant soul before him began changing shape. The sphere condensed into a humanoid figure, Jiren. But unlike the calm warrior standing outside, this manifestation glared at him with unmistakable fury. Ravandra instinctively tried to flee. He could not move. An invisible psychic force completely immobilized him. The spiritual projection of Jiren slowly approached, then wrapped one hand around Ravandra's throat. Although nothing physical existed within the mindscape, the pain was real. Ravandra felt his own consciousness beginning to fracture. His very mind was being crushed by Jiren's psychic strength. The rage emanating from Jiren grew stronger with every passing moment. Whether it was Jiren's true self or simply his subconscious reacting to an intruder, Ravandra could not tell, and he would not have the chance to find out. Without him realizing, however, his psychic assault had achieved one thing. For a single instant, Jiren's attention wavered. It was barely noticeable. His reaction slowed ever so slightly as he continued exchanging blows with Sirloin and Sarbuto. For anyone else, the opening would have been meaningless. For Sirloin, it was enough. "Excellent word, Ravandra," the Emperor shouted. Immediately, he manipulated the matter composing Jiren's body. His power wasn't sufficient to disintegrate the Pride Trooper outright. Jiren's divine key prevented that. Instead, Sirloin transformed Jiren's body into a stone-like substance, temporarily locking him in place. "Now, Sarbuto, give me everything." The Super Toffle immediately positioned himself behind Sirloin and placed both hands on his back. A torrent of solar energy poured into the Emperor. Empowered by both cosmic and stellar energy, Sirloin began charging his ultimate offensive technique, a Super Quasar Wave. The colossal beam engulfed Jiren almost instantly. At the same time, Jiren broke free from the transmutation and restored his body. But the attack had already reached him. The combined power of Sirloin and Sarbuto swallowed both Jiren and the surrounding battlefield. For the first time since the Tournament of Power had begun, Jiren could not simply overpower the attack. Instead, he braced himself behind his divine barrier. The struggle began. Sirloin continued feeding energy into the beam. Behind him, Sarbuto poured even more solar power into the Emperor. Jiren's barrier held firm, yet even it began sliding backward under the relentless pressure. For the first time in the tournament, Jiren was forced to exert himself. Sirloin and Sarbuto allowed themselves a brief moment to think that victory was close. Perhaps they truly could eliminate him. Even the obseding warriors of Universe 3 briefly believed the same. Only Nigrishi saw something different. No. His computerized mind reached an immediate conclusion. He's still holding back. Within the raging beam, Jiren exhaled, a single sigh. His crimson eyes slowly ignited. Without disrupting the barrier protecting him, Jiren increased his power with such perfect control that the change was almost impossible to perceive. Divine Ki gathered within his right hand. Then, in one seamless motion, he transformed defense into offense. Jiren unleashed a devastating power impact directly through the center of the Super Quasar wave. The counterattack tore through the combined beam effortlessly. The overwhelming force reached Sirloin and Sarbuto before either warrior had time to react properly. Their attack was erased. Instinctively, Sirloin erected a cosmic barrier around both himself and his ally. A rare act of selflessness. It wasn't enough. The power impact shattered the barrier instantly. The explosion struck Sirloin directly, with enough force to engulf Sarbuto as well. The two Universe 2 fighters lay on the arena floor after the attack. Their defeat seemed imminent as Jiren calmly closed the distance. With great effort, Sirloin forced himself back onto his feet. A confident smirk remained on his face as he raised his guard once more, although it was clear he could no longer continue fighting. Jiren silently acknowledged the Emperor's determination. Then he asked, "Who are you fighting for, warrior of Universe 2? Sirloin contemplated the question for a brief moment before answering. "For myself, of course. I will survive at all costs and defeat you in the process." Jiren showed no reaction, yet he immediately noticed the contradiction in Sirloin's words. If surviving truly was his only objective, then why had he protected his ally instead of himself? "I recognize your strength, Sirloin, but this is over," the Pride Trooper said as he prepared to eliminate him. "You are forgetting about me." Sarbuto slowly stood back up. "I can still fight." Jiren simply shifted his gaze toward the old Toffle. "You really are a tough old man," Sirloin said with a grin. "You heard him. We are not done yet." Sarbuto shook his head. "No, you must regroup with the rest. I will hold him back." "Don't be a fool," Sirloin replied. "You have no chance. Please." The old Toffle's voice carried both determination and sorrow. "You must do it, for the sake of our universe." Fully aware that Sirloin was much stronger than himself, Sarbuto understood how important it was to prevent the Emperor from being eliminated. Sirloin remained silent, but he understood that as well. "Now go." As soon as he gave the order, Sarbuto began powering up. A tremendous burst of solar energy erupted from his body. His wounds immediately began to recover, while his power continued rising. Jiren activated his all-seeing eyes and instantly understood what was happening. The Super Toffle was sacrificing his own vital energy, converting it into solar energy before imbuing every cell of his body with it. Such a sacrifice allowed him to temporarily surpass his own limits, but only temporarily. Once his power and regenerative abilities reached their peak, they would rapidly decline. His own energy would tear his body apart from within, leaving him with barely enough strength to remain alive. In essence, he was sacrificing himself in exchange for a brief surge of overwhelming power. Even if he survived, he would no longer be able to continue fighting. Out of respect for such a selfless act, Jiren allowed Sirloin to live and focused his full attention on the old Toffle. Solaris burst. Sarbuto rushed forward. Moving at tremendous speed, the Super Toffle unleashed a relentless barrage of strikes. Jiren calmly defended every single attack. Sarbuto's power continued to increase. He ascended into the air before unleashing countless solar ki blasts toward the Bright Trooper. Jiren advanced directly through the barrage, effortlessly dodging every projectile. Once he reached his opponent, he answered with a precise combination of strikes, sending Sarbuto crashing back into the arena. The Toffel's wounds immediately began recovering once again. As his power reached its absolute peak, he prepared his final attack. By releasing all of his energy at once, Sarbuto became the core of a miniature sun. Despite its size, it was infinitely more powerful than any ordinary star. The immense heat and gravity immediately began tearing apart the arena around him. Once the technique was complete, the Super Toffle charged directly toward Jiren, with the power of countless stars surrounding him. The Bright Trooper could have dodged, he could have blocked. Instead, he charged directly towards Sarbuto. The two forces collided head-on. The miniature sun proved to be extremely powerful, but Jiren proved stronger. Propelling himself forward like a projectile, Jiren pierced straight through the blazing star surrounding the Toffle, reached its core, and rammed directly into Sarbuto, driving him toward the arena floor at incredible speed. Jiren crashed down alongside Sarbuto and the miniature sun surrounding him. The impact unleashed an immense eruption. Even with the modified space surrounding the arena suppressing the scale of the explosions, the blast was so enormous that, for a brief moment, both its blinding flash and the violent tremor spread across nearly the entire battlefield. When the explosion finally subsided, Jiren emerged from the smoke, holding a severely weakened and unconscious Sarbuto. Eliminating him would have been easy. Instead, the Bright Trooper looked towards Sirloin. The Emperor had seemingly chosen to remain instead of regrouping with the rest of his team. With a single flash step, Jiren instantly closed the distance between them. Sirloin couldn't even follow his movement. Without saying a word, Jiren froze Sarbuto into the Emperor's arms. Take him and your other teammate. Retreat. Now. Jiren's order caught Sirloin completely off guard. His initial confusion quickly turned into humiliation. You dare to insult us by showing mercy? The Emperor said through gritted teeth. I am not defeated yet. Jiren's expression remained unchanged. Fool. You're the one insulting your ally after he sacrificed himself to let you retreat. The Bright Trooper looked briefly toward the unconscious Sarbuto. If all of you are able to recover and survive by the end of this tournament, he turned his gaze back to Sirloin. Then come and fight me. Until then, leave. Sirloin found himself without an answer. Silently, he picked up Sarbuto before making his way toward Ravandra, who still lay unconscious after attempting to invade Jiren's mind. Swallowing his pride, the Emperor set aside his selfishness, if only temporarily, and retreated alongside his two fallen comrades. The warriors of Universe 3 had observed the entire battle between Jiren and the fighters of Universe 2. As Sirloin finally withdrew, they saw the Bright Trooper remain exactly where he stood, silently surveying the battlefield. Whether he was wary of them or someone else, they could not tell. We should have retreated and helped the rest of our team when we had the chance, Magikayo said, clearly shaken by Jiren's overwhelming display of power. I agree, the Preco added. We wasted our opportunity waiting for an opening, and he never showed a single weakness. That would not have worked, Nigrishi replied calmly. The moment we tried to leave and attack one of his allies, he would have come after us. Having observed Jiren throughout the battle, the leader of Universe 3 felt he understood the Bright Trooper more with every passing moment. Besides, I wouldn't say we found no weakness. Magikayo immediately turned toward him. You found one? I found a way for us to survive this. Nigrishi kept his eyes fixed on Jiren. For a brief moment, he increased his power even further in order to overwhelm Sirloin and Sarbuto's combined attack. If that truly represents Jiren's full strength, then I seriously doubt anyone in this tournament can defeat him. But if we take advantage of that weakness, it should be possible. Nigirishi deliberately kept his explanation vague. Whatever weakness he believed he had discovered, it wasn't part of a reliable strategy. It was merely a gamble, and for now, he chose to keep that to himself. Then what's our next move? The Preco asked. We fight him. Nigirishi answered without hesitation. He will defeat us, Magikayo protested. The rest of our team already seems to be struggling. Trust me. Nigirishi interrupted him. This is the only way. We are not running away. We fight him. Prepare yourselves. As he gave the order, Nigirishi began powering up once more. His teammates did the same. Let me use my ability on you, the Preco said to Magikayo. The metallic warrior nodded in agreement. Jiren shifted his attention toward the three warriors. For the first time in the confrontation, he seemed mildly surprised. Even after witnessing his strength, they had chosen not to retreat. Instead, they still intended to challenge him. The Grey silently accepted the resolve.